Hi Fifth Hour, hi Mrs. Warner. This is my presentation for one of my projects for the Lit Circle groups. And this is my board game presentation. And my board game is The Return of the Native Trivial Pursuit. And this is what the board looks like. So the game includes 4 game pieces. So these are the 4 different pieces right here. And as you can see on the board, there are different colors which respond to different color questions. So there are orange cards, green cards, blue cards, and pink cards. So I'm going to go ahead and read the rules for how the game is played right now. So rules. This is the Return of the Native Trivial Pursuit Edition. This is a 2 to 4 person game that is based on knowledge of the novel. Rules. Each player chooses a game piece and places it on the corresponding start space. Players go in order of oldest to youngest and roll the dice to move his or her piece. Players will roll the dice and move around the board, landing on different colored spaces that correspond to trivia cards. The player to the left of the player who is on their turn will read the question aloud for them to answer. If correct, the player keeps this card. If wrong, the card is placed at the bottom of the deck. This continues until one collects all 4 types of cards and can make it to the finish space. The player must roll an exact number to land on the finish space, and if overshoots, the pawn stays on its same spot. So that's like the basic rules of how you play. I'm going to do like a little demonstration of it. But now I'm going to talk about the 4 different kinds of cards. So first are character cards. The character cards are green cards. They ask questions regarding characters, and the player must provide the appropriate name. If there is discrepancy on the name provided, the other players may decide whether or not to award the card. So an example of this is, who has a daughter named Eustacia Clementine? And the answer is Thomas Yalbright. Next cards are Who Says It cards, and these are blue. So the Who Says It cards are the blue cards. These cards have a quote from a character on it, and the player must provide the appropriate name of who says it. If there is discrepancy on the name provided, the other players may decide whether or not to award the card. So an example, it says, who says, quote unquote, if I had known what I know now, that I should be living in this heath a month after my marriage, I should have thought twice before agreeing. And the bottom there's the answer, Eustacia Vi. Location and object cards. Location and object cards are the pink cards. These cards will have a description of a place or object important to the novel, and the player must provide the appropriate response. If there is discrepancy on the location or object provided, the players may decide whether or not to award the card. An example of this one is, what is the seaport city where Eustacia is from? Answer, Budmouth. And then the last cards are the British Fun Fact cards. The British history cards are the orange cards. These cards have a question regarding a British fact, and the player must provide the appropriate answer. Some of these cards are multiple choice, so read all the options aloud to the player before they respond. If they respond before all the answers are read and get it wrong, or if there is discrepancy, the other players may decide whether or not to award the card. So an example of this is, the national animal of England is the Barbary blank. A, cow, B, bear, C, dragon, D, lion. The answer, D, lion. So that is just a quick example of the rules and the cards. Okay, now we're going to go through like an example of how we would play since we can't play it in class. So like I said, there are 4 different piece options. I'm just going to choose this one since it's just me playing by myself. So then, like I said, this is a start and finish space. So I'll get my die and I'll roll, and I rolled a 2. So you can go any direction you want to start. So I'm going to go 1, 2. And I land on a blue space, so then someone would ask me a blue card, say I got it right, I'd keep it, and this would keep going, roll another 2, 1, 2, and then I'd pull a green card, and if I keep getting them all right, then I would get to keep the card. If I didn't, it'd go back at the deck, and then say I've gone around the board exactly, and I've gotten all my cards, and then I'm trying to get back to the finish space, so if I roll, I have to get exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 to land here. So let's see, whoop. 2, 1, 2, and so then, 2 again, 1, 2. That was easier than I thought. So that is just a quick little example of how this game would be played.